takes a village to raise a child. It took a village, or all of Northwest Missouri, to pull this off, make this happen for our children. It took the city, it took individual donors, the Lions, the university. It took a lot of people that I know I've missed some too. That's a short list because it took a lot of hard work to make this happen. And we are extremely grateful to the community in all of Northwest Missouri for providing this new service for our children. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce Megan Jennings. Megan.
Good morning. Thank you all for joining us today. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. 33 years ago, leaders of St. Francis Hospital took that single step. They were moved to expand their ministries into childcare and fill a growing need with working families. They opened the doors of a 3,000 square foot residence and began by serving 24 children. On its last day, that same center was caring for 67 children. Over the course of those 33 years, it served over 2,000 children and families. What a ministry indeed. For any of you that have ever taken your child to the former center or happened to set foot in it, you know that it was no Taj Mahal, to put it mildly. It did, however, serve a great need, and it had a great purpose. A few years ago, it became evident that the facility was no longer sustainable for the long-term mission of the organization, and that there was a much greater need than even that space could provide. At times, we had a wait list of over 30 children and families needing to be served. So we took another step. So how does a not-for-profit hospital running a not-for-profit child care center in a building that some might say is condemnable begin to meet such an important need for this community? Welcome to Maryville, Missouri, a city that thrives on partnerships and progress and is full of gracious people and individuals that truly want to see our children grow and prosper here. Your partnerships are how we achieve this dream. But let's talk for a second about the 3-year journey that got us to this celebration today. Now, this journey kind of reminds me of a particular night in my youth when I was driving home in a snow and ice storm through the winding and hilly roads of Gentry County, Missouri. Picture white-knuckled hands, the perfect mixture of worry and relief as I navigated each twist and turn, and a gas tank that was nearly empty. Because really, what 16-year-old listens to their father when he says, "Don't let the gas tank get less than half full"? It was 1 step forward and 2 steps back, continuously. And often we were running on empty. It wasn't until I figured out that our team wasn't steering the wheel that those white knuckles became a little less white. Our God and Creator had a hand in all of this, and no matter how many times we stumbled, He centered us and grounded us. I knew He would not let this project fail or allow it to be less than it should be. Our single step began with Jackie Spainhauer and the Northwest Missouri Regional Council of Governments team as we began preparing for a community development block grant from the State of Missouri Department of Economic Development, geared specifically towards early learning centers. The team comprised of Jackie Spainhauer, Cindy Sons, Dr. Chantel Dowsett, Dr. Pradnya Patet, and Frank Raspino, and myself, completed the daunting process of environmental reviews, preliminary architect reports, and over 100 pages of information and questions, only to discover that the competition this year was fierce. 11 people were vying for $1 million of funding from a $3 million funding bucket. The odds were not in our favor, but as I mentioned before, God was not going to let us fail. Not only did we receive the full $1 million grant, our application ranked number 1, which reiterates the fact that our need in this region for quality and affordable care is vast. Along with this $1 million funding, we also applied to be recipients of the Neighborhood Assistance Tax Credits, and were awarded $500,000 of those. Many of you here today supported us with purchasing those tax credits, and we thank each and every one of you today that did so. With over half of the funding we needed, the St. Francis Hospital Foundation generously loaned us the $1 million to fully fund the project as I began additional fundraising efforts. What a tremendous gift this was to allow us to keep this project moving forward. And then we took another step. we began to seek community partners that would allow us to align our mission with their needs. Together, we have created some beautiful partnerships. The first one I'll mention is from our friends just down the road at Kawasaki. Roughly 20% of the children in our facility are Kawasaki families. Their generous gift supported our indoor activity center and gross motor space. And with their partnership, we are working towards several initiatives to break down barriers that employees face with childcare, including backup care and overlap shift coverage. Kawasaki, we are extremely grateful for your contribution and look forward to working with you to better support working families in our region. Our partnership with Northwest Missouri State University has been long-standing as we partnered together to ensure career readiness in education practicum students, as well as offering many education students part-time employment. With the new early childhood degree program starting, we know that partnership will only expand and help strengthen our next class of educators and leaders. Thank you to John, Denise, and the Northwest Foundation for supporting this great partnership and initiative. After remarks today, you will have a chance to tour one of the most remarkable play spaces in our region, and probably outside the region. The outdoor play space was not part of our original construction budget, and we were working hard to cover the cost of the facility. To be quite honest with you, I didn't know if these kids would have two sticks to rub together when this was all said and done. But I later connected with Aaron Dobson and the Maryville Parks and Recreation Board, where they envisioned a beautiful partnership that brought barrier-free and inclusive play to Maryville. This partnership led to a grant from Missouri Parks and Recreation and Game Time. And the Maryville Host and Pride Lions Cubs also came alongside us to see this vision become a reality. They worked together with us to submit a grant from the Lions Club International Foundation, and together we created an outdoor play space that affords every child living with a disability the opportunity to play alongside a child that doesn't have a disability. Thank you to each one of you for partnering with us to break down the barriers for over 400 children in Nottoway County living with a disability. And then we took another step. In my brief 3 years of working for this organization, I have never met or been surrounded by more compassionate people. We have something rare here that I would arguably say that you would have trouble finding anywhere else, and that is our people. Through our employee appeal and payroll deductions, physicians like Dr. Conti Havaldar and Dr. Susan Watson, along with over 40 other employees, contributed over $50,000 to this project. But for us, it starts at the top. Our leader, Mike Baumgartner, stood behind this project and helped us push through any obstacle that may have come our way, because he is centered around our mission of providing quality and affordable care for every child in our region. And he allowed us to complete this expansive, inclusive playground project with his personal gift as well. He inspires each of us at the hospital campus to be the good and leads by example. Thank you, Mike, and the St. Francis family for your contributions today. And we took another step. This journey has been a labor of love. As we celebrate the grand opening event today, may I also extend a heartfelt thank you to those that saw us to the finish line. Krista Barkas, our HR director here, organized and collaborated with us as Frank went out on medical leave and saw us to the finish line with her efforts in that. Gary Thompson is probably hiding in the back and maybe running as fast as Gary can run. I want to thank him and his entire maintenance staff. This guy has been the backbone behind this project build. He now proudly owns a copy of our state licensing requirements and can recite more information about licensing, fire codes, sanitation than anyone in their capacity probably ever should be able to. Simply stated, he immersed himself in every detail of this project to make sure it was done right. I took a screenshot of my favorite text that he sent me, and I'll clean it up for you a little bit. But he said he was watching the final pieces of our surfacing go on in our playground, and he sent me a text that with a picture of it, and he said, "You know, you're a real pain." He said, "But this place sure does look nice," and I'm going to keep that one because now I know that no matter how high his frustrations may get, he would do it all over again. I know And I also want to thank our IT department for setting up phones, computers, smart boards, and everything in between. This added a ton of work to their load, and we're truly grateful for all that you do. To the City of Maryville for partnering with us and being the pass-through organization for our Community Development Block Grant. To the king of rallying volunteers, Mr. W.R. O'Reilly, who got the muscle that we needed behind our playground build through the Lions Club and local football teams and helped us build this playground. And we also thank him for making the Lions Club International Grant possible. To Kenna and Chloe Johnson and Denise Jasinski for honoring the legacy of Peggy Wellington through this center and all that contributed to that dedication as well. To Dr. Watson and Susan Grispino, whom you'll hear from in just a moment, for giving your time and talent to help ensure every child in this center thrives. And to the Heartland Foundation providing us the matching grant to allow us to put Susan and Susan's vision and along with our collaborative partnerships into action. To our parent committee who fundraised, advised, and supported this project, even when many of their children are now headed off to kindergarten and not using the space, they believed in a better future. We also thank them for coining the phrase, no more tire chips, hashtag no more tire chips. And many of them will know what that means, and they used it in all of their going back to school pictures. I could spend all day naming off the people that came together that contributed to this project in some way. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I pray that each one of you feels our most sincere gratitude and thankfulness today for all that you have done in making this dream a reality. Early education matters, and we are grateful to each of you that each of you have chosen to make it a priority today for the advancement of our future here.